Backyard barbecue isn't supposed to be a competition, but for some reason, everybody thinks it is. So today, we are going to do a competition style barbecue chicken thighs. We're gonna take some of those methods from competition and apply those to some backyard barbecue chicken thighs. So stick around, I'll show you exactly how to do it. When it comes to barbecue chicken thighs, it's usually pretty simple. You're either a skin off or you're a skin on, or you marinate or you don't, or you just throw them on some hot coals and away they go. But when it comes to competition, chicken thighs are treated completely differently. Now, I'm not gonna go through every step. We're not gonna remove the skin, trim the skin down, trim the meat down to this perfectly square and reapply the skin to it like they do in competition. Because for me, if we're talking about competition, it's about how it tastes. And in my backyard, it's not how it looks, it is how it tastes. And so that's what we're going to do today with these chicken thighs. So I have about 7 pounds of chicken thighs. I got 2 aluminum 9x13 pans. I got one of my favorite rubs, the Sucklebusters Texas Pecan. Love this on chicken. And we've got some salt-free Irish butter. That is pretty much all it's going to take to get started with these competition style chicken thighs. So let's go ahead and get started. When it comes to competition chicken thighs, we are 100% always gonna be using bone-in chicken. So that's what we have today. Now I said I'm not gonna be doing any fancy trimming, and that is true. I'm not gonna be taking the skin off, I'm not gonna be scraping it, I'm not gonna be reshaping it or anything like that. But whenever you buy bone-in chicken thighs, you're gonna see stuff like this. You're gonna see hunks of fat, you're gonna see all kinds of things that you really should trim off. So we are gonna trim those down today where we see applicable. But like I said, this isn't completely about presentation. We are focusing just on that competition barbecue taste. So taking a look at this chicken thigh, I can already see that there's some large pieces of fat, and I've just got a sharp knife. I'm going to go ahead and trim that down. And I will trim off anything that's really hanging over the sides because that essentially is going to just burn. So we really don't need to worry about that. So very simple, 2 cuts, and here's my chicken thigh. Now, as I get these trimmed, I'm gonna go ahead and start placing them into my foil pan. I mean, to me, that looks like a good chicken thigh. Now, when it comes to trimming them like this, because we're really not trimming much of the meat off, we're just focusing on getting the excess skin and fat that may be hanging off the side, really there's not much going to waste. As you can see, there is very, very little meat that is actually in this pile. All right, now that we've got 2 trays of chicken set up here, we need to season them. Now, I know I already set them in the trays, but we're gonna be seasoning both sides. I needed to see for placement purposes how they were gonna go. So I'm gonna take them out individually, and I'm gonna season the back. And I'm using my Sucklebusters Texas Pecan today. It's one of my favorite chicken rubs. Now, as you can see with these chicken thighs, there was very, very, very little waste, and that is what I was going for. I just wanted to do only the essential trimming and get them into these pans. We did remove excess fat. We did remove any overhanging flesh or skin because that's stuff that'll burn, and you're not keeping that to eat. Now we're just going to go in and do a top coat with these. We want to make sure we get a nice coat all surfaces of that skin. Now the next step of these competition style chicken thighs, it is the butter bath. I mentioned it once or twice already. What you do is you take butter. I'm using unsalted because I like to control the amount of salt through the rub and not have to worry about the salt that's in the butter. And you're essentially going to cube up or cut some slivers of butter and place them all over throughout the pan. Since these are some pretty good sized pans, I'm assuming I'm gonna have 1.5 sticks to 2 sticks of butter in each pan. And I don't necessarily want them on the chicken, so we're gonna stuff them around anywhere where there's a gap in there. We've got the butter in there, we've got the chicken thighs, and it is time to get them into the grill. So today we're running the Camp Chef Apex. We've got it at 300 degrees Fahrenheit, smoke level 10. It's already preheated. It's time to get them in there uncovered, and we're gonna let them go for about an hour. And here comes one tray. I'm gonna leave these kind of separated, leave the center open because that is where the heat source is. Even though this does work more like a convection oven as opposed to some of the other pellet grills. We're gonna get this thing closed. Like I said, we're talking 1 hour at 300 degrees. We'll show you in a little bit what this is looking like. All right, so we're an hour into these competition style chicken thighs. It is time to wrap the pan with some aluminum foil. As you can see here, the butter bath itself is looking good. There's plenty of juices down at the bottom. You can see that. So we're gonna take some of my heavy duty wide foil and we're going to go ahead and cover this pan. And in doing so, we're gonna rotate these 180 degrees so that it more evenly distributes the heat. So in case the front is a little hotter than the back, then we don't have any issues. Now that we've got those wrapped tightly with foil, we're gonna close this and we're gonna give it about 45 minutes in that situation. Then we're gonna take it up to the next step. We'll see you in a bit. Now for these chicken thighs, we're looking for about 200 degrees internal temperature before we sauce them. So I'm gonna open this thing up, I'm gonna pull open one of these pans and just check the internal temperature on one of these thighs. Whew, nice and steamy. 199. I'm gonna go ahead and get these out so that we can get them sauced up. One of the keys when it comes to competition style chicken thighs is that we want the liquid to stay below the surface or the top surface of the chicken. And what that does is it helps preserve the skin, the color, and it keeps it from getting too saturated. Now the next step here is essentially to dunk it down into this sauce. Then we're gonna place them onto our wire rack. And from the wire rack, we are going to transfer this back into the grill. We're gonna go ahead and do this for all of the chicken thighs. But now, as you can see, we've got them all sauced up. We've got them ready to go back into the grill. We're talking 300 degrees for about 10 minutes. That's gonna give us exactly what we want in terms of a finish on these barbecue competition style chicken thighs. So let's get them in there. So these competition style barbecue chicken thighs are done. We put them back in after saucing them up at 300 degrees for 10 minutes. It glazed up nicely. We have a nice looking chicken thigh, competition style. We're gonna give them a try and see if that butter bath method and the way that we prepared these is worth the investment. Now they look and smell great, but it doesn't mean anything until we give them a try. So I'm gonna grab one of them here. Let's give it a try. They're so rich and tender. I mean, I could just shred this in my hand if I wanted to. It is absolutely delicious. Pairing it with that honey barbecue sauce was great, but obviously you can use any sauce that you'd like. But these are pretty much a clean bite. It's hard to tell from here, but that's a pretty darn clean bite. If you want great recipes and great barbecue, just like this one here, then I suggest you check out this video, and I'll see you next time at Anderson's Smoke Show.